Hi, my name is Tim Levinson. Like many other songwriters, composers and music publishers, I'm a member of APRA AMCOS. We tell them which performing and mechanical rights we're happy for them to manage. Most members choose to have all their rights managed by APRA AMCOS, but there are alternatives, and that's what we're talking about today. Opt out or license back. Jonathan Carter is General Counsel at APRA AMCOS, and he knows all about this stuff, so we have an expert here. Now, can you please explain to us a little bit about license back?
Happy to. License back is really the process by which a songwriter or music publisher member of APRA or AMCOS is able to deal with their own songs directly, license their own songs directly. So as you said, when a songwriter or music publisher joins APRA or AMCOS, they give the rights in their songs exclusively to APRA or AMCOS to license on their behalf, which in the vast majority of instances works really well. It's an efficient way of granting blanket licenses, it's efficient for businesses, and it works for the songwriters and music publishers.
Sure.
But there are times when it might be more appropriate or beneficial for a songwriter or music publisher to license the works directly themselves to a music user. And license back is just the process by which a songwriter or a music publisher can take their rights back out of APRA AMCOS and grant a license to a music user themselves.
Okay, sure. So how do members go about that process, and what sort of advice should they get before they begin?
Well, it's a really easy process as far as APRA and AMCOS are concerned. All it requires is filling out an online form before you grant the direct license to whomever you want to license yourself. And often we recommend a phone call to your local writer services representative who can help talk you through filling out that form. It's really just some simple information about the work that you want to grant a license for, who you're going to grant it to, the term of the license, how long you want to give them the rights for, and the territory. The process is a very simple one, but it's an important one to go through as a member of APRA or AMCOS, because what it does is it's the way that APRA AMCOS knows that you're going to be granting a license directly, which means that we can update our records and not license that business for that use ourselves.
Okay, sure. Now, can you tell me when it is good, or what sort of circumstances? Maybe give us an example of where it is good for a songwriter to do a direct license.
The circumstances are going to be quite varied, but I think the key point to make is that license back works best where the business who wants to use the music knows in advance, the particular work that they want to use and a particular purpose. So for a, corner pub which has lots of different live performances on every weekend, they're never going to know in advance exactly what works are going to be used. And in that circumstance, a blanket license from APRA AMCOS makes more sense.
Sure.
But in a circumstance such as, say, music on hold, or perhaps the use of a particular song on a website, license back can make more sense because the business doesn't need a license for the world's repertoire of music, it just needs a license for that one song.
Okay, so if you've given us a little bit of information about license back, can you tell us a bit about opt-out?
Okay. Opt-out it's similar to license back. It's another process of getting the rights in your songs back from APRA AMCOS so you can license them directly yourself. But the difference is that with opt-out, it's for your entire catalogue. It's for your entire repertoire, rather than just an individual song, which license back is all about. It's also an arrangement where APRA AMCOS gives you the rights back so that you own them again. With license back, the rights still remain in APRA AMCOS's repertoire, so APRA AMCOS can go and license other music users even though you're licensing that one business directly yourself.
Yeah.
That's licensed back. With opt-out, we're giving you the rights back, so that we can't license those rights anymore for that particular category of use that you nominate. You know, for us, these processes are all about flexibility and choice.
Yeah.
It's offering songwriters and music publishers the ability to do it themselves if they want to.
Yeah,
We don't say it's always going to be in their best interests. Matter for you to decide and get your own independent advice. We can help talk through the issues with you, but it's there for you if you want to use it.
As an APRA AMCOS member, you have the option of managing your own rights through opt-out and license back. Now, I have not done this myself, but fortunately I've found someone who has, Ray Thistlethwaite. Thanks for chatting today.
Good to see you.
Can you tell us a little bit about the opt-out and license back options, because they sound a little bit complicated. I haven't been involved in them.
From what I understand, when you're signing up with APRA AMCOS, you're allowing them to collect royalties on your behalf for various usages of the music that you own. And these options of opt-out and license back basically give you a way to work out those usages with other companies or other clients directly.
What has been your experience with the license back process?
I wrote some music that was going to be used for on hold music.
Okay, sure.
And that was a situation where I did that licensing directly with the client.
Now, having gone through that process, what would be your advice or your recommendation to artists who are either contemplating opting out or licensing back, or find themselves in that situation where they're called on to have a direct license?
I think artists should be open to it. They probably just need to be aware of what it really is, and that it might add some admin, time and effort there. But a lot of artists are very hands-on, and if they feel that that's a good way to go and just learn about what it really is, it's a pretty simple thing. It just means that instead of having APRA AMCOS collect the royalties for you and pay you in their timely manner, that you can work out however you want to do it directly with any client, and it's great that that's an option. It needs to be an option.
All right, great. Well, I know that I'm feeling much more clear and generally fantastic about this whole issue, so thanks, Ray, for filling us in.
No worries.
Now let's find out a little bit more about this from a music manager who's been through this process himself. Now, you have gone through this licensing back process with Icehouse. Why was that the best option for the band at the time?
We've had a couple of occasions in the last 2 or 3 tours where there are venues that we've been going into where Icehouse is self-promoting, and because of that we're approached to be the entity paying APRA, and so at that point the license back started to look like an option for us. It became an economic decision about is it financially better for us to just pay everything through to APRA, or is it going to be financially better for Ivor Davies, who's the main songwriter, to actually just do the license back process, and then we'll see how everything works in the end. As it turned out, we were doing enough self-promoted shows that it was financially viable to go through the license back process.
So what did you have to do? Was it a complicated process? Talk us through it.
It's a direct process with regards to APRA. It gets a little bit more complex when we have to deal with other co-writers or publishers. So to anybody who's going through the process, they have to think through that first of all. So we were sent a couple of forms, we downloaded a couple of forms and had to provide information about where the venues were, what was the material that was going to be performed at those venues, who were the writers and who were the co-writers and who were the publishers. And then we went back to the publisher, and in Ivor's case he controls most of his copyright, so it made good sense to do that, so we went back and nominated just the songs where he was the solo writer and did the license back process that way.
Now weighing it up, you've gone through this process. Obviously the band has sometimes been involved with APRA and also has been involved with direct licensing. Could you maybe illustrate a little bit about what were the pros and cons of this, and would you recommend that to other members of APRA AMCOS?
The pros are you do actually make a little bit more money back when you do the maths between how much would APRA be taking and then distributing back to the writers, as opposed to how much is going to come your way. It can be minuscule amounts of money. So the pros are when there's a decent enough amount of money to do it on, then you do it. Where the time and the people cost and all of that starts to become more than you would save, it doesn't become a worthwhile thing to do, purely from the touring point of view. I know that there are other opt-out and other license-back situations where people would get involved, but specifically for the touring where we've used it, it comes down to how many people hours are going to be involved and how much money is it going to be, and those are the pros and cons.
Well, that's about it. Hopefully you know more about the alternatives to APRA AMCOS and more about your rights. For more information, don't hesitate, get in touch with your APRA AMCOS rep or just head to the website. There's a lot of information there for you.